Hello, all you beautiful people. Welcome again to Janiyah Sampson Live. This is Janiyah Sampson, and we are live. Today, we're going to be discussing universal loving friendliness, also referred to as meta. Now, loving friendliness or universal loving friendliness, meta, the practice has a few names, but it all remains the same. This meditative method contains two parts: right direction of thought and repetition. It's a straightforward and common sense approach. Wow, a new word, meta, huh? Well, meta comes from, of course, the ancient Indian language called Pali. And it essentially translates to loving kindness, benevolence, active goodwill. You get the idea. As I've mentioned before, normally when we think about meditation, we imagine sitting in silence and simply focusing on something pretty neutral like the breath, physical sensations, thoughts, and feelings, right? Right. However, today, in this case, we're going to simply be aware of when the mind is wandering and where it goes, and bring our attention gently back to the object of meditation. So, what is meditation? Metta is an active form of meditation where instead of focusing on the breath, we focus on sending benevolent thoughts and wishes out into the world. And we imagine that the people or animals in our minds are touched by our goodwill. In some forms of meditation, we go a step further and imagine that whoever the object of our meditation may be, and this includes ourselves, is relieved of the particular form of discomfort, unease, or pain as they are touched by our power of goodwill. This is the power of meditation. And the approach moves from easy to hard. Now, Janiyah, what do you mean by this? Okay. The first thing you're going to do is wish yourself well. Easy enough, right? Then continue by wishing the people whom you love well. Nothing difficult about this either, right? Then perhaps wish the people you respect well, no pain or guilt or suffering. Simply wishing them well. Okay, but now let's move on to people whom you simply tolerate. Are you able to wish them well? And the guy who cut you off in traffic, or the lady who cut you off in traffic, or worse, the person that hurt you, can you wish them well? Try wishing the people that you don't like well, even those that you hate. Not so easy, is it? Huh. That's the point. That is what I meant by moving from easy to difficult. The practice is simple. It's right direction of thought and right effort. So simple, yet so effective with practice. We take our practice further. We wish all animals well, not just the ones we feel should be honored in our homes. We send our loving friendliness to all people everywhere, regardless of creed, education, geography, sexual orientation, race, age, political views, or religion. The goal for the meditator here is to dwell more often in the higher portions of the mind, to actively reside in the higher evolved parts of our brain, and develop the 4 sublime states. A practice where we wish ourselves well and everyone else in the world, not just our inner circle, but all sentient creatures. And the only way this works is when you send these feelings of universal loving friendliness, of benevolence, of compassion. You have to mean it. You have to mean it, or else the practice is superficial. And I've mentioned this before, and it should be well understood that the Buddha was a pretty antithetical guy. He hated rituals for the sake of it. And in his time, there were a lot of rituals. And this isn't religion class. I repeat, Buddhism isn't a religion. It's more of a psychology and philosophy. But what I'm trying to get across here is that the Buddha explained to put no head above your own, and that what he said, or what I'm telling you now, these words you hear are simply an invitation to go ahead on your own journey and investigate on your own and see what's there. So I invite you to take a chance and try. You have nothing to lose. Okay, so here are some of the negative effects of adding universal loving friendliness in a small way that will affect your life. So be careful, okay? 1. Universal loving friendliness will increase your compassion, the ability to see yourself in others. So, watch out for that one, folks. Watch out for that one. 2. Universal loving friendliness will increase your sympathetic joy, the ability to be happy that others are happy. Also, not too sure about this one, right? Yeah, that seems like a slippery slope as well. And universal loving friendliness, watch out for this one, folks, because this is really dangerous. Universal loving friendliness will improve your equanimity, your calmness of mind. Forget that. Who wants to remain calm in situations and have patience and, equanimity, I think, is 2023. We're in 2024. So why would that be useful, huh? Why would a calm mind be at all useful? And the final thing you need to be aware of and to guard against in universal loving friendliness is the ability to share your unconditional love. Sharing your love out to all creatures and all people seems like a waste of time, right? Because we all know that what you give out is not proportional to what you get back, right? What you give out, you don't get back. So it makes sense not to do these things. But let's say, for conversation's sake, that you were willing to try something new. But in reality, it's nothing new. Millions of people around the world use loving friendliness as a part of their meditation practice, as well as I do. And it's been around for ever since Buddha's time, 2,600 years ago. So let me explain if you're willing to listen. Benevolence, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity, the 4 sublime states. The four sublime states let us activate and reside in our highest self as human beings. What do we mean by this? We humans have a multi-layered brain, the product of our evolutionary journey. We have the limbic system, which is responsible for our savage instincts, which are still present, to a mammalian brain that nurtures its children, and all the way down the line to our most recently evolved frontal lobes, which allow us the ability to transcend our more animal instincts. And when we use this part of our brain, we are not just conscious, we are conscious of being conscious. As far as we know, there is no other creature on Earth that has a brain set up for metacognition. The ability to be conscious of your consciousness. By utilizing the four sublime states, we learn to habitually dwell in the highly evolved parts of the brain. The four sublime states allow us to be in harmony and have goodwill with others and with society as a whole. They can act as levelers of social barriers and make us feel generous towards others as we move out into the world. That doesn't sound so bad, does it? So next, let's explore the nature of each of the four sublime states. Let's start with love. Benevolence, love. The love spoken here is a selfless or unconditional love that has also been called agape by the ancient Greeks. This is more or less the highest expression of love, higher than philos, which is friendship love, and eros, erotic love. This kind of love wants people to be happy, to do well, without pain and without suffering. When you love unconditionally, you transcend the ego. The ego is an aspect of your total self that came into existence hundreds of thousands of years ago to help our ancestors devise survival strategies in a very, very dangerous world. And of course, it would be all about you or me. We were in direct danger. And of course, our ego's nature is selfish. Its purpose has always been to keep us alive when all around was danger. The key is to understand that we must not let our ego dominate and define us. We are a lot more than our ego. And anytime we are sending unconditional love to everyone and everything in the world, we, in turn, transcend that ego. Sympathetic joy. Next on our four sublime states, the sympathetic joy refers to being happy for others being happy. That's it, folks. Sympathetic joy is the ability to be happy that others are happy. Can you, while you're parked in the parking lot and, that woman or person is holding their puppy, petting it in their nice, beautiful truck, and you think to yourself, damn, I'm happy because they have a smile on their face. That makes me happy. Or are you just maybe upset by their very nice truck? These are moments when you start to realize that you have the ability to be conscious and decide what parts of the brain you're going to reside in. The ability to be conscious of being conscious. Metacognition. The more you are able to be happy for other people being happy, it's a self-reinforcing feedback loop. And the happier you make others, the happier you become. This is the essence of sympathetic joy. And perhaps let it be our goal to bring as much happiness to as many people as we can by transcending our base nature and express ourselves through our highest self. The next sublime state is compassion. Compassion means empathy. Can you see yourself in the other person and the shared humanness that all people have, and the interconnectedness and the ability to want happiness and to live without pain and fear and worry? Compassion is the ability to see yourself in other people. Compassion is the ability to relate to that person and see yourself in that person and understand that you and they face and will face and have gone through different things, but ultimately that you share the human. Our ego reminds us not to worry about other people, to turn our hearts off and go cold. We become blind and deaf to the problems and the suffering of others, where this illusion of safety can remain. We're all so caught up in our daily lives that for the most part, we don't pay attention to the people around us that are also suffering. We stop noticing other people's suffering. Because we have a lot of problems ourselves, right? But compassion and empathy allow us the ability to go beyond our narrowly defined ego sense of self and put ourselves into someone else's shoes and the minds and the homes and the communities of other people. It's certainly better to cultivate compassion now, because one thing is for certain, that one day you or I shall find ourselves crying out for that compassion and really needing it. Compassion opens your heart to other people. Last but not least, we have the bedrock of the 4 sublime states, equanimity. Equanimity means calmness of mind. It means poise, equilibrium, patience, emotional intelligence, self-discipline. When we win, we are happy. When we are sad, we probably lost or didn't achieve the outcome that we wanted. We've failed. And our emotions happen to follow the pattern of events in lockstep. When we win, we're good. When we lose and fail, we are devastated. You can have problems in your life, and equanimity will allow you to have a conversation with a person or your boss, and you're not going to bring that particular problem into that conversation. Do you see what I'm saying? When you're late for work and you pull up behind that person who's driving the speed limit and, they're at the red light and you want to get there faster, you might even go through that red light. You're upset with the person in front of you driving that vehicle. You get road rage. You blame them. But whom is late for work? And what are the chances that this person is driving slowly because you're late for work? Now, this is a moment when equanimity comes into play. You realize that getting upset about this situation is not important. And the only person you're hurting when you create this kind of atmosphere is yourself first. And that's a moment when your compassion hopefully kicks in and you realize, if I was that person, would I want someone, beeping their horn at me, being upset with me. I'm just driving. What have I done? The cultivation of equanimity will hopefully keep you out of more and more of these trials and tribulations in your daily life. Equanimity is the bedrock of all the four sublime states. With love or benevolence or unconditional love, as you put it, compassion and sympathetic joy, all of those are strong emotions where you are sending out love or you're experiencing someone's interconnectedness with yourself. You see yourself in them. You're happy for them. Those can be really heavy things unless you have calmness of mind. If you jump just into someone's, if you jump into compassion and you're just feeling sad for someone, that can, also tear you apart. If you are being happy all the time for someone else being happy, it's like those are strong things that can really have an effect on you. You need a calm mind to balance all that love that you're sending out, right? The idea is that equanimity allows us to swim in the misery of other people and not be drowned by it. Equanimity allows us to swim in other people's suffering and not be drowned by it. But equanimity on its own is simply cold. We humans are ambivalent. And we need to match our equanimity with our compassion, which allows us to not be simply frozen and disinterested in other people. When we dive solely into equanimity without adding compassion, without loving friendliness or sympathetic joy, we tend to become cold because we just become extraordinarily rational and not relying on our ability to perceive ourselves and others and understand that we have that interconnectedness. We become indifferent to other people's suffering. Love, compassion, and sympathetic joy are all kind of vulnerable because they don't last long. They tend to dissolve and deteriorate quickly. The strong and balanced mind allows us to sustain our compassion, loving friendliness, and sympathetic joy without being drowned in it or in the situation at hand. And over time, gaining the ability to remain calm and aware in very intense and emotionally difficult situations. Okay, folks, so let's actually go ahead and do this meditation. Go ahead and grab yourself a seat if you could. You can be lying down. You can be doing this anywhere. This is not restricted to any kind of formal type of meditation practice. This is a practice in mindfulness. And the process is as follows. Remember, it's about direction of thought and repetition. So let's begin. I'd like to wish my family well. I wish all living creatures well. I wish all my friends well. I wish all my family well. May they be at peace and without harm. I wish all living creatures well. May no creature be unnecessarily hurt. I wish those people that I simply tolerate well. I wish the people that I don't like well. I wish the people that don't like me well. I wish my coworkers well. I wish my neighbors well. And I wish myself well. I wish my cousins well. And I wish the people that don't wish me well to do their best. I wish my enemies well. And I wish all those in the world may be happy and without pain and live in safety. I send my benevolence east, west, north, and south. I send my sympathetic joy to everyone, all sentient creatures, east, west, north, and south. I send my compassion to all corners of the world, east, west, north, and south. And I send my equanimity to all the corners of the world, east, west, north, and south. Now, you can word that in any way that you like, but essentially, again, it's just direction of thought and repetition. So you say that in your mind. Now, having completed your meditation and loving friendliness, you may have noticed that your mind wanders when you're doing even your loving friendliness. Even for that period of time, your concentration doesn't stay fixed on what it should. That's so easy. No biggie. All you have to do is notice that you've been noticing that you've been distracted. Mindfulness reminds us of what we're supposed to be doing. Mindfulness notices when we are not noticing. So by definition, meditation helps you notice. And so when your attention is taken off your universal loving friendliness, you just bring your attention back to the process. And that in turn strengthens your concentration and your mindfulness. Try it for yourself and enjoy. This is Janiyah Sampson, and you're listening to Janiyah Sampson Live. Until next time, everyone, have a great night, morning, or evening. Take care. Peace.